The laughter started softly at first, little snickers echoing behind raised champagne glasses and lopsided smirks. It was the kind of laughter people hid behind polite smiles, the kind meant to injure while pretending not to. Maya pretended not to hear it. She kept her eyes fixed on the glossy mosaic tiles beneath her feet, breathing slowly, reminding herself that she belonged here. She wore the peach dress her cousin insisted she buy, too fitted for her liking, too bright, too noticeable. She said no at first, but her cousin, the bride, had insisted. "It will look beautiful on you, Maya. Don't you dare hide in something dull." Beautiful. Maya had laughed at that word in the dressing room mirror. Now, standing in the middle of the buzzing wedding hall with people dressed in their absolute best, she wished she'd worn something dull, something invisible. She tried to take a quiet step toward the empty seat near the edge of the hall, but her heel caught on the floor's uneven edge. She stumbled. Not a fall, just a momentary wobble. Enough. The laughter grew louder. "Careful, the floor isn't reinforced for that much weight." "Oh God, did you feel the ground shake?" "Someone hold the table, she might tip it over." Their voices were low but sharp, daggers disguised as jokes. Maya's cheeks burned. She closed her eyes for 1 second, praying for invisibility. But the hall was packed, and their eyes were everywhere. She took another breath, remembering why she was here. Because her cousin Sarah had begged her to come. Because Sarah had said, "You're family, and I want you standing with me on the most important day of my life." So Maya came, despite everything, despite knowing exactly the kind of comments people whispered when they saw her. She forced her feet forward. But before she could reach the table, a drink spilled behind her, someone's deliberate elbow push, a sudden shove masked as an accident. Liquid splashed across her dress. "Oh no," a woman cried dramatically. The dress couldn't handle pressure. Maya stiffened. Her throat tightened as the humiliation surged, drowning her. That old ache, years of being mocked, judged, hated for a body she never wanted, for weight she couldn't lose fast enough, rose in her chest. She didn't cry, she refused. But her hands trembled as she tried to blot the stain with a napkin. A little girl nearby tugged her father's sleeve. "Daddy," she whispered, "why are those people being so mean to her? She didn't do anything." Her father looked up from his chair. And that was the exact moment Maya noticed him. Tall, broad-shouldered, in a crisp charcoal suit that made him look like he'd walked out of a magazine, dark hair slightly tousled, strong jaw, warm eyes, a calmness about him that contrasted the buzzing cruelty around them. He had been watching everything, not with disgust, not with amusement. With outrage. His daughter looked between him and Maya again. "Daddy, someone should help her." He stood. The shift in the room was immediate. People noticed him. How could they not? He was the kind of man who drew attention without trying. He moved toward Maya with purposeful strides. She panicked, instinctively stepping back. She didn't want another person staring at her stain, at her embarrassment, at her body that seemed to offend everyone. But he stopped just in front of her. "You okay?" he asked gently. His voice was rich, calm, nothing like the mocking, buzzing tone she was used to. She nodded quickly. "I'm fine, it's nothing really." "Doesn't look like nothing." He looked past her, his jaw tightening at the smirking faces behind her. "Looks like people here need a reminder on how to treat another human being." Maya swallowed hard. "Please, it'll only make things worse." "For who?" he said. "They're already the worst ones here." She blinked at him, startled by the sincerity in his tone. And before she could respond, he removed his jacket and placed it gently over her shoulders, covering the stain as if it were the easiest decision in the world. Warmth flooded her from the fabric and from his nearness. Whispers erupted instantly. "Oh, look, the hero found his charity case. Watch out, he might get buried under her weight." Figures, single dads go for whatever they can get. She froze, wanting the floor to swallow her whole. But then something she never expected happened. He turned around sharply, eyes blazing, addressing the entire section of onlookers. "Enough," he said, just one word. The room fell quiet in a way Maya didn't think was possible. "You think this is funny, mocking someone's body, laughing at a woman during her family's wedding. What is wrong with all of you?" A man scoffed. "Relax, man, we were just joking." He stepped closer to the man, his voice steady but seething. "If this is your idea of joking, I feel sorry for your children." The man's face flushed. Someone else muttered, "Who even are you to talk to us like that?" He pointed to the little girl standing behind him. "I'm a father. That's all the reason I need. My daughter will grow up to respect people, every shape, every kind. And she will not learn cruelty from watching adults behave like pack animals." Maya felt her heart twist in her chest. He reached for her hand. "Come sit with us," he said softly. She hesitated. "I don't want to make a scene, I just want to disappear." "You shouldn't have to disappear," he replied. "Not tonight, not ever." Her throat tightened. Tears stung the corners of her eyes, but she blinked them back. He guided her toward his table, with his daughter smiling warmly at her. "Hi," the little girl said sweetly. "I'm Lily. You can sit next to me." Maya managed a tiny smile as she sat down. Her heart was pounding, not from fear, but from something she hadn't felt in a long time. "Safety." She dared to glance at the man. "I'm Daniel," he said, "and you're Maya, right, the bride's cousin?" She nodded. "How did you know?" "Sarah talks about you all the time, says you're the most loyal person she knows." Maya's breath caught. No one had ever introduced her like that before. People usually said, "the big one," "the heavy one," "the shy one," or simply pretended not to remember her name. But loyal. That felt like a gift. "So," she whispered, "why did you help me?" His eyes held hers, unwavering. "Because you deserved better," he said, "and because sometimes someone just needs to step forward first." Her chest tightened in a way she didn't understand yet. But Lily squeezed her hand under the table. From across the hall, the group that mocked her exchanged irritated glances. And one whispered resentfully, "Why her? Why would he choose her?" Maya pretended she didn't hear that. But Daniel did. His jaw clenched again. And from that moment, everything began to change. Maya didn't know it yet. But this moment, the moment she feared had ruined everything, was about to become the beginning of something she never imagined possible. Something strong, something kind, something that would make every cruel voice in that hall irrelevant. Because sometimes, the right person steps forward at the exact moment you feel the smallest. And that person can rewrite your whole life. Maya kept her hands folded tightly in her lap, trying to steady the thundering beat of her heart. Sitting next to Daniel felt unreal, like she had stepped into someone else's life for a moment. His jacket still rested around her shoulders, warm and carrying a faint scent of cedar and clean cologne. It grounded her, but it also made her nervous in a way she wasn't used to. Lily swung her legs happily under the table, humming along to the music as if nothing strange had happened a few minutes ago. No cruelty, no whispers, no clinking glasses filled with judgment. Her innocence felt like a balm to Maya's bruised spirit. Daniel handed Maya a fresh napkin. "You sure you're okay? If you want to leave the hall and get some air, I'll walk with you." She shook her head. "No, I can't miss Sarah's first dance. She wanted me here." He smiled, a slow, reassuring curve of his lips. "Then we'll stay together." That word "together" shouldn't have meant anything. It was casual, not romantic, but it hit her like a quiet promise. "Thank you," she murmured. "Really, you didn't have to do any of that." His brow furrowed. "Maya, you shouldn't need to thank someone for treating you with basic decency." She stared at her hands. "Not everyone sees it that way." He hesitated, as if choosing his words carefully. People's cruelty says everything about them, and nothing about you. Lily nodded vigorously, her small ponytail bouncing. Daddy says mean people are just loud because they're empty inside. Maya choked on a laugh. He said that. Lily nodded proudly. Yup, and he also said that people who are kind are the strongest. Daniel raised an eyebrow at his daughter. Did I say that? She remembers everything I say, even the things I say half asleep. Maya smiled, the heaviness in her chest loosening slightly. She relaxed back into her chair. But across the hall, the people who had mocked her earlier weren't done. A tall woman in a glittering midnight blue dress, one of the bridesmaids, stared at their table with narrowed eyes. Maya recognized her immediately. Aisha. Perfect hair, perfect figure, perfect arrogance. She had always looked at Maya like she was an unfortunate stain on the family gatherings. Now Aisha looked furious. And she wasn't alone. Two men and another bridesmaid whispered among themselves, glaring between Daniel and Maya like they had been robbed of something valuable. Maya felt their gazes and stiffened. Daniel followed her line of sight. "Those the culprits?" he asked quietly. She nodded, embarrassed. "They're just." "Rude," he finished bluntly. "Yeah." He tapped his fingers once on the table, thoughtful. "They won't bother you again." She wanted to believe that, but she wasn't naive. Aisha didn't lose gracefully. And she wasn't done yet. When the music lowered for the toast, Aisha strode toward the center of the hall, her heels clicking sharply like a warning. "Oh no," Maya whispered. Daniel leaned slightly toward her. "What?" "She's going to," Maya swallowed. "She loves attention, that's all." But within seconds, they understood exactly what was coming. Aisha grabbed the mic with a blinding smile. "Hello, everyone. Can I have your attention for a quick little moment before the main toast?" The guests turned. Even the bride and groom paused their conversation. Aisha's smile widened with poisonous sweetness. "So," she said brightly, "we all just witnessed a dramatic moment earlier." People chuckled. Maya's stomach twisted. A bit of clumsiness, a bit of a mess, but look how beautifully the evening recovered. The crowd murmured in amusement. Daniel's expression darkened. Aisha continued, "I think it's wonderful that everyone here can be accepting, even when some people don't quite fit in with the wedding's aesthetic." Maya felt the words like physical blows. Daniel stood up so fast his chair scraped loudly against the floor. Maya touched his arm out of reflex. "It's okay," she whispered desperately. "Please don't make it worse." He turned to her, and for the first time she saw true conflict in his eyes, torn between protecting her and respecting her wishes. Then Lily tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, she's being mean again." That was enough. Daniel straightened, jaw tight. "I'm not letting her humiliate you in front of everyone." Before Maya could protest again, he strode toward Aisha, moving through the crowd like a storm with a quiet center. The hall fell silent as he approached the stage. Aisha blinked, startled. "Oh, Daniel, I didn't know you wanted to say something." "I do," he said evenly, taking the mic from her hand without force but with finality. The entire hall shifted, sensing something important was about to happen. Maya froze, breath caught in her chest. Daniel lifted the microphone. "Since we're talking about acceptance," he began, his voice steady, carrying through the hall, "let me add something." People leaned in. "I've seen some things tonight that shouldn't happen at a wedding, or anywhere. I've seen adults mock a woman for her body. I've seen humiliation disguised as jokes, and I've seen the kind of cruelty that we teach children not to commit." The mocking group stiffened. "But I've also seen strength, real strength, the kind that comes from standing there and taking it without breaking." He turned his eyes briefly toward Maya. "The kind that comes from showing up even when you know people might tear you apart." A ripple of quiet moved through the guests. Aisha forced a laugh. Daniel, really, this is unnecessary. No, he said, eyes sharp. What's unnecessary is the bullying, the gossip, the petty judgment. People exchanged uneasy glances. Daniel continued, so if anyone here feels the need to laugh at someone tonight, laugh at me instead. Because I'm the one who thinks Maya is one of the most dignified people in this hall. Maya's heart stopped. He wasn't done. And if you think her worth is defined by her weight, then I feel sorry for you. Because it means you've never learned how to measure a person's heart. A hush fell that felt like the room itself was holding its breath. The bride, Sarah, looked at Maya with soft, grateful eyes. Daniel handed the mic back to Aisha, whose face was pale with embarrassment. He returned to the table, and Maya stared at him, stunned. You didn't have to do that, she whispered once he sat down. He met her gaze, unwavering. Yes, I did. Lily grinned. You were awesome, Daddy. Daniel chuckled, ruffling her hair. Thanks, Bug. Maya swallowed hard. Now everyone's starring. They'll get over it, he said, or they won't. Either way, you don't owe them anything. She bit back the tears that threatened to fall. Why do you care so much? She asked quietly. He looked at her for a long moment, as if deciding how honest he should be. Because, he said finally, I know what it feels like to be judged for something you didn't choose. She blinked. You. He nodded. People judge single dads all the time, think I'm irresponsible, think I'm half a parent, think I'm raising Lily alone because I messed up. They have no idea what my life is or what happened to her mom. His eyes softened, shadows flickering there. Maya's chest tightened. I'm sorry, I didn't know. You don't have to be sorry, he said. Just understand that I hate injustice. I hate people being torn apart for existing. She looked down, tears finally slipping free. Maya, he murmured, gently tilting her chin up with his fingertips. His touch was feather-light, but it felt like fire through her skin. Don't cry because of them, he said softly. They don't deserve that power. Lily leaned over and hugged Maya's arm. We like you, she announced cheerfully. You're nice. Maya let out a shaky laugh. And for the first time in a very long time, she felt something inside her begin to heal. But the night wasn't over. Because someone from the mocking group wasn't done yet. Someone had taken a photo earlier, of Maya stumbling, of the spilled drink, of her embarrassment. And that someone had just hit send to a group chat full of cousins, friends, and acquaintances. Within minutes, people around the hall began receiving the humiliating photo. Maya didn't know it yet. But Daniel saw the phones lighting up. He saw the smirk spreading again. And his expression darkened dangerously. Because stepping forward once wasn't enough. Not when people were determined to tear her down. And this time, Daniel wasn't just going to defend her. He was going to expose the truth. Daniel watched the phones light up one by one. First, a chuckle from one table. Then a gasp from another. Then a smirk from someone leaning toward their friend. He recognized the pattern instantly, the ripple of cruelty spreading like oil across clear water. Lily was busy drawing hearts on a napkin with a pink pen. Maya was quietly sipping water, trying to blend into the chair even though Daniel had already pulled her out of the shadows. But the rest of the hall, they were getting entertained again. Daniel's jaw flexed. He knew exactly what they were doing. Someone had taken that earlier photo, the stumble, the stain, the flash of humiliation. And now they were sharing it. He stood up so suddenly that Maya flinched. Daniel. I'll be right back, he said, voice calm but edged like tempered steel. He scanned the room, eyes narrowing. And then he saw him, the man who had laughed the loudest earlier, holding up his phone and showing the picture to two others. They snickered behind their hands. Daniel walked toward them without hesitation. Give me the phone, he said. The man blinked in mock confusion. "Excuse me." "You heard me, give it." The man scoffed. "Why would I?" Daniel snatched it from his hand so fast the man stumbled back. Gasps echoed through the hall. "Hey, you can't." Daniel held up the phone. The image on the screen burned with cruelty. Maya mid-stumble, mouth open, eyes wide, dress stained. Frozen in the exact moment she wished she had disappeared. "Who took this?" Daniel asked. No one answered. He stepped closer. "You think this is funny, humiliating someone for your entertainment. Why? Because you're insecure, because mocking her makes you feel bigger." One of the men muttered, "Come on, man, it's just a picture." Daniel's eyes darkened. "It's harassment." The hall fell silent. The bride, Sarah, hurried over, confused. "What's happening?" Daniel handed her the phone. Her face drained of color when she saw the photo. "Who did this?" she whispered, voice trembling with anger. From the back, Aisha crossed her arms. "People are overreacting. It's just a joke." "No," Sarah snapped, slamming the phone on the table so loudly that everyone jumped. "It's not a joke. That's my cousin. How dare you humiliate her at my wedding?" Gasps scattered through the crowd. Daniel didn't look away from the culprits. "You owe Maya an apology," he said. The mocking group shifted uncomfortably, but none stepped forward. "Fine," Daniel said coldly. "Then the whole hall will know exactly what kind of people you are." He raised his voice. "Everyone, the same people who laughed at Maya earlier are now spreading around a photo of her stumbling, because they think bullying is entertainment." A wave of murmurs spread. But then something unexpected happened. People, strangers, began to stand from different tables. A woman stepped forward. "That's disgusting. I saw the whole thing. She didn't do anything to deserve that." A man added seriously, "At a wedding." A middle-aged auntie muttered loudly, "Shameful, absolutely shameful." Even the DJ paused the music and stared. Suddenly, the mocking group looked much smaller. And then Sarah, her wedding dress shimmering under the lights, walked straight to Maya's table and took her cousin's hand. "Maya," she whispered, voice emotional, "I'm so sorry. If I knew people were treating you like this, I would have thrown them out myself." Maya didn't speak. She couldn't. Her throat felt blocked with too many emotions: humiliation, gratitude, disbelief, pain, relief, all crashing together. Daniel placed a supportive hand on her shoulder. Sarah turned to the group responsible. "You don't deserve to be here. Leave." "What?" Aisha gasped. "Sarah, you can't be serious. I'm your bridesmaid." "Not anymore," Sarah said, her voice steel-wrapped in silk. "Get out." Aisha froze. Her friend stared in shock. Sarah's gaze didn't waver. "I said leave." One by one, faces red with embarrassment, they shuffled toward the exit, avoiding everyone's eyes. The hall remained silent until the doors thudded shut. Then Sarah knelt beside Maya. "None of them matter. I wanted you here because you matter." Maya finally let out a quiet sob. Sarah hugged her tightly, careful not to crush the fabric. "You are beautiful," she whispered. "Not because of a dress, not because of a number, because of your heart. I'm sorry anyone ever made you feel otherwise." Daniel watched the scene with softened eyes. Lily slipped off her chair and gently hugged Maya's arm again. "Can we dance now?" she asked hopefully. Maya laughed through her tears. Daniel smiled. "She loves dancing." Maya wiped her cheeks. "I haven't danced in a long time." Daniel extended his hand. "Dance with us." She stared at his hand, hesitant. "People will stare." "Let them," he said softly. "Tonight, I want them to see the truth." Her breath caught. "What truth?" "That you deserve joy," he said. "That you deserve respect. That you deserve to be seen." Slowly, timidly, she placed her hand in his. Daniel pulled her up gently, as if she were something fragile and precious. They walked to the dance floor where couples swayed under soft lights. Lily squeezed between them, holding both of their hands as they stepped into the glow. As the music flowed, something extraordinary happened. People started to smile, not mockingly, not cruelly. Warmly. The bride and groom joined them. Then others stepped forward, forming a slow, gentle circle around Maya, not trapping her, surrounding her with acceptance. Daniel moved closer, his hand at her waist, not possessive but supportive. Lily twirled around them, her laughter like little bells. Maya felt her heart unraveling, piece by piece, from years of shame and heaviness. For the first time, she didn't feel like the obese girl people whispered about. She felt human, cherished, safe. Daniel leaned in slightly, his voice low enough for only her to hear. "They laughed at you because they saw someone they thought they could break," he said. "But they didn't see your strength. I did." Her throat tightened. "Why me?" she whispered. "Why do you care so much?" He met her gaze, steady and deep. "Because kindness is rare," he said. "Because resilience is beautiful, because my daughter adores you, and because—" He paused. Maya's heart hammered in her chest. "Because I think you're someone worth knowing," he finished softly. Her breath shook. "You really mean that?" "I wouldn't be here if I didn't." Lily tugged Maya's hand. "Will you come visit us? Daddy makes the best pancakes, and I want you to draw with me, and we can go to the park and feed ducks." Maya laughed through her tears. "I would love that." Daniel's eyes softened. "Good." The song ended, but no one broke away. Maya stood there surrounded by the people who loved her, the ones who supported her, and the one man who had stepped forward when no one else did. Not because she needed saving, but because she deserved someone who believed she was worth defending. Later that night, when the hall began to empty and the fairy lights flickered softly overhead, Daniel walked her to the exit. "You know," he said lightly, "tonight didn't go the way I expected." She smiled shyly. "No, me neither." "But I'm glad it happened," he said, "even the messy parts." She hesitated. "Why?" "Because it led me to you." Her breath hitched. Daniel slipped his jacket back around her shoulders. "Keep it. It suits you better than it suits me." She stared at him, overwhelmed. "Good night, Maya," he said gently. "This isn't the last time we'll see each other." He took Lily's hand, and they walked away, the little girl turning back to wave enthusiastically. Maya watched them go, her heart fuller than it had ever been. Maybe one man, stepping forward, couldn't erase years of pain. But it could start something new. Something hopeful. Something hers. And that night, for the first time in a long time, Maya went home smiling. Because she finally understood. She wasn't someone to laugh at. She was someone worth stepping toward. Someone worth choosing. Someone worth loving.